Hey guys, how are you all doing? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto's parents neglected him for his sister, Naruto left the village and got Harem movie. So before we start, go check out the author of this fanfic, vsizzel. Link is in the description. Also subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let's start the story. Two-san, daddy. Two-san. I did it. Did you see that? Did you? Cheered a girl who looked 8 years old. She had bright long red hair with yellow around the end of her hair, bright ocean blue eyes, and had a round face. She was about 3 feet 1 inch. She wore a red t-shirt and combat pants. That was great, Narumi-chan. Appalled a man with spiky blonde hair with 2 long bangs down the side of the face. He had ocean blue eyes and an angular face. He was more handsome than most males. He wore a dark blue long-sleeve shirt and black sweatpants. Stood about a height of 5'10". This man was Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage of Konoha and the Yellow Flash of Konoha. At the moment Minato was watching his daughter train. The girl now known as Narumi was the daughter of both Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. She looked like an exact copy of her mother with the exception of her blue eyes and the yellow strands that outline her hair, and the fact that she is younger. Narumi smiled and continued her training on sensing her chakra and calling it out. She just started training with chakra and her dad was teaching her how to control it. Great job, Narumi-chan, you will be a great kunoichi in no time, said a redhead who just came in when she saw her daughter call out her chakra. She stood at a height of 5 feet 8 inches, had maroon hair, and a heart-shaped, angelic face. She wore a hair clip on her hair, wore a red t-shirt and sweatpants. She had a body of a goddess that would make any male or female die of a nosebleed. With long slender arms and legs, and an impressive bust ranging from C cups to D cups. This woman was Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, wife of Minato Namikaze and Konoha's Red Death. Thanks, Mom. I can't wait until I become a great kunoichi like you, replied Narumi with a smile. Both Minato and Kushina smiled at their child's energy and attitude. In the distance stood a boy who was the same age as Narumi. He had wild spiky blonde hair that went everywhere, electric blue eyes, and a round face. He stood about the height of 3 feet 5 inches, and at the moment was wearing a gray t-shirt and sweatpants. He looked like any normal healthy kid, but one thing different about him was the 3 whisker marks on each side of his face. His name is Naruto Namikaze, son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, an older twin brother of Narumi Namikaze. At the moment Naruto was glaring at the nice family scene that was happening at the family private training area. Naruto just sighed and walked away, into his room where he did training of his own. When Naruto got into his room he laid down on his bed and remembered what happened a long time ago that made him what he is now. Flashback 3 years ago. Hey Two-san, can you teach me how to do some cool ninja stuff? Asked the young blonde Naruto who was hoping his dad would say yes. Sorry Naruto, I can't. I have to teach Narumi, replied Minato. Naruto frowned. Why can't you teach both of us at the same time? Argued Naruto, ignoring the smug look his sister was giving him. Sorry Naruto, I don't have time to do that. Naruto was going to respond with his father until his mother came in. Naruto goes to your room and doesn't bother your father. He will teach you when he feels that you are ready, said Kushina in a demanding voice. Naruto, not wanting to argue with his mother, looked at the ground and walked to his room. Why can't I learn how to be a shinobi but Narumi can? How come she gets everything? Said Naruto out loud to himself when he reached his room and closed the door so no one could enter or hear him. Naruto was considered a genius or prodigy. He was smart beyond measure, and had skills to learn anything really fast, so it didn't take him long enough to figure out that his family favored his sister more than him, seeing as she got mostly everything she wanted. He also noticed the villagers treating her like a hero. Naruto on the other hand barely got anything he wanted. Even on his birthday he would get 1 or 2 gifts while Narumi would have tons. He was also hated by the villagers. Sometimes when he would walk around the village alone he could see some of the villagers giving him cold glares. His sister also had a lot of friends. Every kid would try to get to know her. While he didn't have any friends, kids would avoid talking to him for reasons he doesn't know. Naruto knew that his sister had the Kyuubi's power in her, and that she was seen as a hero, but he didn't understand why he was so hated by the villagers. He lay on his bed and closed his eyes so that he could rest. Mindscape. Naruto suddenly woke up to see that he was in a sewer, and in front of him was a giant gate with a seal on it. He didn't know where he was, so he called, "Hey! Anyone there?" His response was a giant roar from the other side of the gate, which scared him greatly. "Who dares disturb my slumber?" roared a giant beast, which Naruto could make out was a fox with red fur and 9 tails. Naruto just stood there too shocked and scared to say anything. The fox looked down and saw Naruto and started to chuckle. "So my jailer finally graced me with his presence," said the fox. Naruto got out of his shock and looked at the confused fox written over his face. "Jailer? And who are you and where am I?" asked Naruto. "Yes, you are my jailer, and to answer your question, I am the Great Kyuubi and we are in your mindscape," replied the fox now known as Kyuubi. Naruto's eyes widened in shock. The Kyuubi sealed inside him? He heard stories of the Kyuubi but didn't really pay attention because he was too small and didn't go to school yet. Why you're the Kyuubi?" stuttered Naruto, who was shakily pointing at the giant fox. The Kyuubi nodded its head. "Are you going to kill me?" Kyuubi shook his head and looked at Naruto. "No, I won't, kid. I saw your memories and I must say that your parents and the villagers are idiots," said Kyuubi, and Naruto was confused, so he slightly turned his head showing that he was confused. Kyuubi saw it and continued. "Your father, who did the sealing, sealed my powers in your sister believing that she could control my powers, while he sealed my soul into you. Also because of this he is still alive for using the Shinigami to seal me, seeing that Shinigami didn't seal all of me into one person but split me up and sealed me into 2 babies. But in return he probably lost about half his lifetime, making him die early than he is supposed to." Naruto nodded, showing that he understood and is taking the information in slowly. "Your father is training your sister early so that she can control my powers, which is impossible without the soul being me because of the pure hatred and destruction that it contains." Naruto's eyes widened a bit and then laughed at how his father made a stupid mistake. After taking a deep breath, the Kyuubi continued, "Many people died during the Kyuubi attack. Many people lost family members, friends, brothers and sisters. Somehow the villagers know that you have the Kyuubi soul sealed into you, and hate you for it, seeing as it reminds them of the people they lost. They think that you are the Kyuubi, and that is why they hate you." Naruto nodded sadly, understanding what the Kyuubi was saying, and looked at the ground and sadly thought that the villagers were right about him being the Kyuubi. The Kyuubi saw this and said to Naruto, "Don't think that you are the Kyuubi because you aren't. You are you and I can't influence you in any way, remember that. And just for your information, I am not a bloodthirsty demon who just randomly kills for fun." "Then why did you attack Konoha?" Kyuubi flinched a little and was then sad. "I was controlled." "Controlled by who?" "Uchiha Madara." "Who's that?" "He is the founder of the Uchiha clan." Naruto nodded, then realization came to him. "Wouldn't that make him more than 100 years old?" Kyuubi nodded. "Yes, but because of the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan he is immortal, and also used his Sharingan to trap me and to control me." Naruto only nodded, since this was a lot to take in for a guy his age. At the same time he was thinking. He suddenly came to a conclusion and looked at Kyuubi with determination in his eyes. "I will beat this Uchiha Madara guy for you," yelled Naruto, shocking Kyuubi. "You seriously think you can beat him?" asked the still shocked Kyuubi. "Yeah. Only if you train me." Kyuubi looked into his eyes and saw the determination he had and smiled. "Find the kit, but it won't be easy." Naruto smiled. Wouldn't ask for any other way. With that his mindscape started to grow faint. "What happened?" asked Naruto, confused. "You're waking up from your nap. I will open a link where we can talk without you always going into your mindscape." Naruto nodded, happy to know he didn't have to be asleep or knocked out to talk to his new sensei. "Oh, before I forget, can you change your mindscape to something more comfortable since sewers aren't that nice?" "Sure thing, Kyuubi-sensei. One more thing, Kyuubi is just a title. My real name is Yoko." With that, Naruto faded out of his mindscape and woke up still in the same position on the bed. End flashback. Throughout the years he has and still has been training very hard every day. Every day he would train himself until he was exhausted and couldn't move. He would usually train in his room or in a secret training area where he wouldn't be caught. Since he was a kid he couldn't lift weight or else it would stunt his growth, so Yoko, Kyuubi, gave him a routine he would have to do every day. He mostly worked on his endurance and doing workouts like push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, and crunches. He also would work on his chakra control since he had a really large chakra reserve, being at the moment high genin to low. His routine every day would be 100 push-ups followed by 100 crunches. This would usually take about an hour or so, then he would usually take a short break and to 100 pull-ups and sit-ups. This took about another hour. Afterwards he would run around the village 3 times, which took about 2 hours, and spend 3 hours doing chakra control. He would do this every day and wouldn't cheat or take any shortcuts. When he first began his training he started doing 20 of each, then as time came by he started to do more and more. Eventually he came to where he is now, doing hundreds of each. Eventually he was interested in seals and started to read about them. He guessed it ran in the family, seeing as his father and mother were seals masters. He read how to do simple seals like the storage seal. He figured out how to make a simple storage seal from scratch, but during his study he came across one seal that caught his attention. It was the gravity seal. It was a seal which applies extra gravity on you, making it harder for you to move, but when released you become faster and stronger. Naruto knew the gravity seal would help him greatly with his training, so with the help of Yoko he figured out how it worked and applied it to himself. Also during his training Yoko told him to go to the library to read some books on or scroll he may find. He did as he was told but couldn't find much, so Yoko told him to sneak into the Hokage's library and find a scroll that said forbidden move. Naruto did what he was told and surprisingly he actually got in. Yoko then told him to find a Kagebunshin no Jutsu, shadow clone, and for him to know the hand seals and how to do it. It didn't take him long to find it, seeing as it was the first thing on the list. After an hour or so of reading he figured out how to do it, and put the scroll back where he found it, and went back to practice what he learned. When he mastered the Kagebushin, told him the secret of the Kagebushin, how when a clone does something when it dispels it sends all its information and experience to the real person. Naruto was surprised that with Kagebunshin he could even do training and learn more, making him even stronger. With many good things there are also bad things. As time passed by the villagers at first started with cold glares, then changed into beating here and there. Once every 2 weeks or so there would be a crowd that would corner Naruto and beat him senseless. They didn't do anything crazy since he was the son of their beloved Yondaime, but they would show him his place. Naruto at first would fight back, but he realized that would have made it worse. So now he just lets them beat them, though it didn't really hurt since he was strong and could take weak civilian punches. The children around Naruto's ego wouldn't hang out or talk to him, instead they would flaunt over Narumi or give him cold glares. Some of the people who tried to be his friend only did it so that they could get close to Narumi. During the academy he would be ignored, but Naruto didn't really mind since he was pretty much alone from the start. Though there were very people that befriended him. Them being Kurenai Yuhi, Anko Mitarashi, Yugao Yuzuki, Uchiha Itachi, and finally Uchiha Mikoto. Kurenai, Anko, and Yugao helped Naruto one time when the villagers beat him. After that they became friends, but at times he would stay a safe distance away from them so that the villagers wouldn't hurt them too. Itachi found him during one of his training routines and watched in silence. He was impressed by Naruto's determination and hard work and eventually talked to Naruto. He asked why Naruto was training by himself and where his family was. Naruto's answer was, "I am nothing to them, only extra baggage." Itachi was shocked but understood what he meant. He often saw Naruto walking behind his parents with an expressionless face. After that Itachi often visited Naruto as much as he could and helped Naruto with his training, seeing as Naruto was considered a prodigy like himself. Uchiha Mikoto found Naruto walking alone around Konoha one day. She asked why he wasn't with his parents, where he gave them the same answer as Itachi. Mikoto was furious and was about to march over to the Namikaze estate and give them a piece of her mind. Naruto tried to stop her, saying it wouldn't matter, but she didn't listen to him. Instead she dragged him with her to the Namikaze estate. He still remembered what happened. Flashback 1 year ago. Uchiha Mikoto barged into the Namikaze estate dragging a blonde-haired boy with her. "Kushina Namikaze! Come here now!" yelled an enraged Mikoto. Moments later Kushina and Minato came into the front of the door to find Mikoto holding their son. Mikoto said, "Why are you here and why is my son with you?" asked a confused Kushina. She thought that Naruto was in his room. "I'm here because I found your son walking around Konoha alone," replied Mikoto loudly. "Really? Oh. Thanks Mikoto-chan for finding my son. We will take it from here." Minato told Naruto to go to his room, which he did, though stayed back so he could hear the rest of the conversation since he noticed that Mikoto hadn't gone home yet. "Did you even know that your son was outside?" asked Mikoto, still mad. "No, but I thank you again for finding him," replied Kushina. Mikoto narrowed her eyes, and in the corner of her eyes she noticed a redhead that was training in the family training ground. This got a question that she wanted to ask them. Why is Narumi training to be a ninja early while Naruto is sent to his room? We decided to train Narumi early. And why not Naruto? Mikoto's tone got colder and colder by the second, which was starting to scare Kushina and Minato. That's because Narumi has the Kyuubi's power sealed into her, and has to know how to control it. We will start teaching Naruto when he get into the academy. Mikoto stood there with glaring eyes at the two. I understand, sorry for asking a stupid question, Namikaze-san. Minato and Kushina flinch at the sudden change in their friend but just toss it aside, thinking that it wasn't anything serious. Mikoto turned around and walked away, too mad to say goodbye. Flashback end. After that, Mikoto would help him as best as she could. Sometimes cooking him lunch to give him advice on his training, since she herself was before she retired when she got married and had 2 kids. She tried befriending him with her youngest son Sasuke, but to her disappointment he adopted his father's personality at a very early age, which was being arrogant to the max. Sasuke would say things like, Naruto wasn't worth his time, or that the Uchiha are the best to Naruto's annoyance. But at least Itachi befriended him, which made Mikoto happy, though she wished he had a friend his age, which Naruto didn't mind. His relationship with his family became worse. As his parents train his sister Narumi in the family styles, Naruto watches in the background, always hoping for attention. He would suggest the family go to the movie, while his sister would suggest they go and eat ramen, and to Naruto's disappointment they always choose whatever Narumi would suggest. After a while of watching and hoping, he gave up and trained even harder to show them that he didn't need them. He stayed in his room and did not bother to go out and talk with his family. Only time he saw them during the day would be dinner, but even then he would stay silent. He would just finish his food as fast as he could, wash his own dishes and go back to his room and train. When the family went on walks around the village, he would stay a few feet back from the rest of the family while Narumi would usually lead. He avoids attention as much as possible by being quiet or staying in corners where no one would see him. During parties he would only be there for an hour or so until he got tired and left. Sometimes Narumi would ask him to play with her, but Naruto would turn her down and say that he was busy. In his free time, Naruto would usually read books about stories, seals, or anything ninja related. He also painted and drew in his free time. When his parents weren't around, he would work on improving his, hoping that he would surpass his parents since they were seal masters. Naruto got up and started to do his daily workout. He took a short break, walked to his desk and took out a sheet of paper with things written all over it. Do you think this will work, Yoko-chan? Don't know until we try, but I'm pretty sure it will, replied Yoko. After the meeting with Yoko the first time, Yoko opened a link for them to talk telepathically so that he wouldn't have to always go to his mindscape. Since then he always talks to Yoko. Yoko is his mother/friend, he would tell her things that are happening. In return, Yoko would teach him anything from reading and writing. Yoko also helped him with his training. As time went by, their bond grew and grew. One day Yoko told him to go into his mindscape and said that there was a surprise waiting for him. Flashback 2 years ago, Naruto entered his mindscape and saw a giant field of grass. He looked around and saw a giant fox and started to walk up to it. So what's the surprise, Yoko-sensei? Asked Naruto, wanting to know what the great surprise was. Yoko looked down at him and smirked. Then suddenly, to Naruto's shock, a bright white light surrounded Yoko, and he noticed the light was shrinking and had the form of a human, or something like that. When the light disappeared, his body shot back because he suddenly got a massive bloody nose. In front of him was what could be said as a goddess made human. Yoko had crimson hair, and blood-red slit eyes. Had a perfectly heart-shaped face, and 2 crimson fox ears, making her even more adorable and sexy. Her body was that of a goddess, with a perfect hourglass figure, long slender arms and legs, and an impressive bust ranging from D cup to DD cups. She stood about a height of 5'10", and had tan skin. Above her but were 9 crimson tails. Naruto got back up, but shortly after shot back with another bloody nose leaking out more than before. Why? Because when he got back up and looked at her, he saw her in all her naked glory. With nothing to cover her, showing everything to him. He may be a kid, but he was a genius, so he knew some stuff at an early age. Yoko smirked when he got his second bloody nose. Naruto got back up once more to still see her naked, but instead of getting another bloody nose, he covered his eyes and shouted, "Put on some clothes." Yoko pouted but reluctantly put some clothes on. She wore a crimson kimono with flower petals. After she said she was done, Naruto opened his eyes. "So Naruto-kun, did you like what you see?" asked Yoko with a smile on her face. Naruto only nodded, still dazed from seeing such a sight. He quickly shook his head to get away from his thoughts at the moment. Truthfully, when Yoko told Naruto her name, he figured out that she was a girl, but didn't think that demons would have human form. Also didn't think that it would be that hot. "I didn't know you had a human form," said a slightly still dazed Naruto. Yoko giggled a little and replied, "Course I do. How did you think I walked around the human world without causing suspicion?" Naruto only nodded. "Anyways, if that's all you wanted to show me, then I'll be leaving then," said Naruto, turning around to leave. Yoko pouted. "Naruto-kun, you're such a killjoy," only for Naruto to smile, but Yoko didn't see it because his head was turned so she couldn't see her face. By Yoko-chan, Yoko's face grew a little red with the suffix, "Too bad Naruto couldn't see it." By Naruto-kun, and flashback, "I guess it's back to training," Naruto told himself. He put the paper back into his original place, and continued his training routines. After Naruto finished his daily training routine, took a quick shower, and changed into his nightgown. After he went to the restroom to brush his teeth. After he was done, he climbed into his bed, and took out a calendar book. "In 2 days will be mine and Narumi's birthday," said Naruto, looking at the date that said October 10th. Hokage office. Minato Namikaze was doing paperwork, something he hated to do as Hokage. He was currently looking at a paper that said to release the civilians that were in jail for hurting his son Naruto. He sighed after the Kyuubi attack, and when he announced that Narumi had the Kyuubi power and Naruto had the soul, some of the villagers asked that Naruto be watched, hurt, or killed before the Kyuubi could control Naruto. As a father, he knew that he shouldn't let them go, but he was the Hokage, not just any Hokage but the best ever to produce so far. As Hokage, he knew that the village came first, and family came later. He knew the pain of the village after the Kyuubi attack, and with Naruto having the soul of the Kyuubi, he knew that the village would target him. He knew it was bad, but the village needed a scapegoat, and Naruto was the only person to fit the job. The best he could do is reduce what they did to him. He signed the paper that releases the villagers from their prison. He just hoped that Naruto was easy forgiving and his wife and daughter didn't find out about what he allowed the village to do to Naruto. He was about to go through more paperwork until he felt a presence behind him. "Jiraiya, what are you doing here?" asked Minato while he was approving the request. "It seems like I could never hide from you," said Jiraiya. "I ask you again, why are you here? I assumed you were peeping on women like you always do." "Actually, the toads summoned me and told me about a prophecy." "Prophecy from the toads?" asked Minato, shocked. Jiraiya nodded in confirmation. "What was it about?" "It said that the chosen one is the child born from 2 great shinobi, and holds great power. I expect that the chosen one would be Narumi, since she is your child and has the power of the Kyuubi within herself." Minato nodded slowly, then realization came to him, and he smiled. "So my daughter is the chosen one?" asked a happy, hopeful Naruto. "I think so, since she fits all the requirements," replied Jiraiya. He saw how happy his student is, and what he was going to tell him would make him even happier. "Since Narumi's birthday is tomorrow, I was wondering if you would let me let her sign the toad contract," Jiraiya told Minato. His smile was growing wider. Minato nodded to Jiraiya and he smiled. His next student would be another person from his favorite student's family. "Since that is done, I guess I'll continue my research. See you later, Minato." Jiraiya disappeared using Shunshin. Minato sighed and looked at his loads of paperwork and frowned. He still couldn't figure out a way to beat every Kage's enemy. After working for a while, Minato stopped and started to think about his family. How far they have grown as a family. How happy they were, he, Kushina, Narumi, and Naruto. He frowned when he thought about Naruto. After refusing to teach Naruto, he pretty much excluded himself from the family. Minato still remembers Naruto asking to go somewhere as a family, but he refused Naruto's idea for Narumi, picking wherever she wanted to go. As time went by, Naruto's requests became less frequent until eventually he stopped asking for anything. He even showed his face less around the house, always staying in his room, and during dinner time he would be silent, only looking at his food while he ate. The only time he really saw Naruto was when dinner time and while Naruto and Narumi were walking to the academy. Minato regretted what he did to Naruto and was going to make it up to him. Starting tomorrow, after Naruto's and Narumi's birthday, He was going to start Naruto's training. He was going to bring Naruto back into the family no matter what. Namikaze estate. Kushina Namikaze at the moment was making dinner for the family. She too felt that Naruto wasn't part of the family. Every time he and Narumi would come home, he goes into his room and stays there until dinner. At dinner he would be silent, and not even give time a glance. When they walked around Konoha, he would stay a few feet back and would remain quiet. She noticed Naruto always reading books, which was good, but he read too much and wouldn't go out and play with the children his age. She started to wonder if Naruto had any friends at all. She regretted not training Naruto at the same time as Narumi, but believed that Narumi needed extra attention due to her having the Kyuubi's power. She, being a former, knows how hard it is to control Kyuubi's power. Kushina was worried. She didn't want Naruto to isolate himself from the family. She knew that something had to be done, and the moment Naruto walked through that door, she was going to make it up to him. She was going to make the family whole again no matter what it took. She then continues to cook dinner for the family, and especially for Naruto to enjoy. In Konoha, "Naruto Onii-chan, where are you?" shouted Narumi. Narumi ran around Konoha trying to look for her Onii-chan. After class finished, Narumi wanted to walk home with Naruto. To her disappointment, she disappeared when she tried to look for him. "Naruto Onii-chan!" she shouted once more, hoping Naruto would come this time. When she got nothing in return, she frowned and started to walk home. Narumi loved Naruto a lot, maybe more than she should. She would always try to play with him, but Naruto always turned her down, saying he was busy. She wanted Naruto to feel like a family, not an outcast. During the academy, she noticed he would always sleep in class. She also noticed that Naruto didn't talk to anyone in his class, nor did the classmates try to talk to him, since they were too busy trying to get her attention. Narumi tried to talk to him during school, but every time she tried, she would be bombarded by her fan club, and when she finally got rid of them, Naruto was gone. Narumi started to remember the past, and felt sick at herself. She remembered when she was little, after her dad told Naruto that he had to train her first, she started to tease Naruto about it. She would say things like the family loved her more, or show Naruto what she learned to make fun of him. When Naruto would suggest they go somewhere, she would suggest they go another place, and every time they would choose her suggestion over his. Remembering these things made her just want to go back in time and slap her younger self. Narumi walked home alone, another day without Naruto. While she walked home, she remembered that tomorrow was hers and Naruto's birthday. She smiled and thought of a plan to get her Onii-chan back. She finished her plan by the time she got home and was going to start it the moment she reached into the house. Namikaze estate. Kushina was still cooking dinner, making their family's favorite food, ramen. She heard the door open and turned to see who was at the door. She saw her husband Minato at the door taking off his shinobi shoes. "Got to work early, dear?" asked Kushina. Minato looked up to see his wife in an apron cooking dinner. He smiled and nodded yup. He told her and walked into the kitchen. When he got into the kitchen, he gave his wife a kiss on the cheeks. After the kiss, he saw that she had concern written on her face. "What's wrong, Kushina-chan?" he asked. "It's Naruto. I feel like he is not part of the family anymore," said Kushina sadly, and she started to tear up. Minato hugged her and tried to cheer her up. "It's okay, Kushina-chan. Starting tomorrow after the birthday party, I will be starting Naruto's training," replied Minato, trying to relax his wife. Kushina looked at Minato with a smile on her face. "I bet he would love that." "I know he will." Just then the door swung open and Narumi came barging in with determination in her eyes. "Ka-san made lots of ramen today," she yelled and went to her room to change. Kushina and Minato were a little shocked by their daughter's reaction, but she did get that from her mother. "Wonder what got her all excited," said Minato to himself. "Maybe she feels the same way as us about Naruto," answered Kushina. Then she noticed that Naruto wasn't with Narumi, nor was he home. "Hey, where is Naruto-kun?" she asked, wondering where her son could be at the moment. When Minato heard this, he cringed a little, knowing where he could be. This was unnoticed by Kushina. As if on cue, Naruto came to the door with several bruises and cut marks on his arm and legs. He was slightly limping on his left leg. Kushina and Minato were in the kitchen, so Naruto didn't notice them. Stupid villagers can't tell the difference between a jailer and the jailed. They think I'm going to destroy them since I have the soul. I don't even have the power. How can I destroy the village? Naruto mumbled quietly to himself, and walked to his room as quickly as possible. Kushina was shocked to see their son was injured, while Minato frowned. Kushina quickly ran to Naruto with Minato following shortly behind her. "Naruto!" she shouted. Naruto turned around and to both Kushina and Minato looking at him. "Yes?" was Naruto's reply. "What happened to you?" asked a worried Kushina looking at his cut. "Oh, I was climbing a tree and slipped and fell down. I'm fine really." Kushina didn't want to leave Naruto alone, but guessing that Naruto is fine, she let him go. "If you're fine, then clean up and get changed for dinner." Naruto nodded and walked back to his room. Dinner came and Naruto came out of his room, with a black t-shirt and black sweats. When he got to his spot on the table, he felt like there were eyes on him. He looked up and to his surprise his family waiting for him, with smiles on their faces. Even Narumi seemed to be waiting for him. Usually she would be attacking the food by now, especially when it's ramen. "What the hell is going on here?" he thought to himself. "Maybe they finally noticed they have a son and a brother," replied Yoko, who saw what Naruto saw. "We'll see about that." Naruto took out his chopsticks to eat his ramen. When he ate the first bite, the family started eating their ramen. This confused Naruto a lot. Just what was going on to make his family change? "So Naruto, how was your day?" asked Kushina, who actually wanted to know her son's day. Naruto was shocked his family actually talked to him. He was a little happy that he was finally getting attention, but that was easily washed away with anger. "So now they notice me after all this time. Whatever this changes nothing." "Good answer, Naruto-kun. They don't deserve forgiveness, not right now at least." Naruto inwardly nodded to Yoko. Well, since he was going to follow his plan, might as well give them a peace of mind. "Fine, nothing special happened," replied to Naruto, quickly going back to finish his food. Kushina frowned at the quick answer she received. Then Narumi jumped into the conversation. "So Aniki, what did you think of today's lesson?" she asked. "Nothing special," replied Naruto quickly, finishing his ramen. Narumi frowned at her quick answer. It felt like Naruto didn't even want to talk to them. Naruto finished his ramen and put his bowl into the sink and started to wash it. "It's okay, Naruto, you don't have to wash the dishes. I can wash it for you, Naruto," said Kushina. Naruto ignored what she said and started to wash his dish. "It's okay, I'm fine. I wouldn't want you to waste your time on me anyways, I can take care of myself," replied Naruto, not to bother to give his mother a glance. Kushina was shocked at her son's reply and started to get sad, and water started to form in her eyes. Her son thought that he was like nothing in the family. She wiped the tears of her eyes. She was going to change that no matter what it took. By the time Naruto finished washing his dish, the family just finished eating their ramen. Since they love ramen, they eat it pretty fast. Naruto quickly walked back to his room but stopped when his father called him and told him to go to the living room for a meeting. Naruto inwardly groaned but went to the living room anyway and sat on the couch until his family came. When they finished washing the dishes and everything, they joined Naruto in the living room. Narumi sat next to Naruto, while Minato and Kushina sat across from him. "Now Naruto, I have news for you that will make you happy," said Minato. Naruto glared at him, making him flinch a little before continuing. "I am happy to say that starting tomorrow after your birthday you will be starting your training in the family arts," he said proudly. "Does that mean Aniki will be practicing with me?" asked the hopeful Narumi. Minato nodded and Narumi's face glowed with happiness. Minato then looked at his son and was shocked. Naruto's face remains unchanging, his eyes looking at him with the same dead cold eyes he always has. Not a single sign that he was smiling or attempted to. Kushina too was shocked. She thought that this plan would work. She was sure it was going to work. Narumi saw the look on both her parents' faces and wondered what made both her parents shocked. She turned to look at Naruto, and like her parents, she too was shocked. "Naruto Onii-chan, aren't you happy? Now we can train together?" asked a confused Narumi. Naruto looked at her with his cold eyes glaring at her. "Not really," he replied. Everyone frowned. "Why not, Naruto? Don't you want to know mine and your father's fighting style?" asked Kushina, hoping to see signs that Naruto was reconsidering his answer. "I lost interest after you guys refused to teach me when I asked." Minato and Kushina were shocked and they frowned. Both the Namikaze and Uzumaki fighting styles were strong. They didn't understand why their son wouldn't want to learn his family stuff and be extremely strong like them. They broke out of their thoughts when Naruto spoke again. "I don't need training from either of you, since I didn't have one before. Why start now? I will wait until I become a genin and have a sensei that will train me to become a shinobi. Even then I will not train or learn any of your style," said Naruto with anger in his voice. He got up and left, leaving his shocked parents and sister where they were. "What do we do now?" asked Atiri Kushina. After hearing what Naruto said, she couldn't take it anymore and started to cry. "I don't know anymore. Maybe this was a little too much for him to take in for the day. Just give him time, I bet he would get over it," replied Minato, trying to calm his wife. Truthfully, he didn't know. Since Naruto sounded really serious, he could only hope that he was right. "Why? Aniki, why?" cried Atiri Narumi. Narumi was really hoping that Naruto would agree to train, so that they could be together, and she would have more time to talk to him. When he refused, she was heartbroken and started to cry. Naruto slammed the door behind him and checked his things he got ready for tomorrow. He was still mad from the conversation he had earlier with his family. "Damn family. They notice me now and think that I would forgive them because I get to learn their fighting style," he mentally yelled at himself. "Calm down, Naruto-kun, it doesn't matter, you just need some sleep so that you can focus on the plan tomorrow," said Yoko, trying to calm Naruto down. What Naruto doesn't know is that Yoko liked Naruto, and it hurt her to see him angry, especially what happened today. She herself was angry at his parents for noticing their son now, after almost 9 years. Naruto needed to rest so that he could focus on his plan for tomorrow. "I understand, Yoko-chan." Naruto finished packing his things and got to bed. "Tomorrow is when we leave this dump called Konoha." After the conversation with Naruto, the Namikaze family was sad and deep in thought. Minato tried his best to cheer up Atiri Kushina and Narumi, who thought they lost their son/brother. After an hour or so of crying, it was late, and they went to their room for some sleep for the big day tomorrow. In Kushina and Minato's room, Kushina's face and eyes were still red and puffy from the crying. She went to the restroom to wash her face, while Minato tried his best to make sure she was fine. After they were both clean and finished with the night routine, they lay in bed together and fell asleep. Both in their mind was how to make Naruto feel part of the family, and for him to learn their family style. Though Kushina more than Minato. As for Narumi, she continues to cry by herself in her room. After about 30 minutes she finally got over it, and went to her personal restroom to wash her face and her nightly routine. During that time she was like her parents. Her determination grew, and she will do everything she can to make it up to him. She jumped on her bed and pulled the cover over her, letting sleep take hold for the night, planning on ways to get her back. Next morning, Naruto woke up feeling better than yesterday. He was still mad about yesterday, but it didn't matter. Today was the day he was going to go through with his plan. He walked over to his desk and pulled out a piece of paper that had his plan written out. Today is his and Narumi's birthday, also the anniversary of Kyuubi's defeat. Since today is a special day for Konoha, there is no school, since everyone is preparing for the festival. That's when he is going to escape, when everyone is drunk from the festival, plus Konoha security isn't so great. He was able to sneak into the Hokage office and copy the Kagebushin, a forbidden item. There was only one problem with his plan, and it was his family. Apparently they finally noticed him and are trying to get his forgiveness. It didn't matter since they would be too busy with the party for Narumi to notice him anyways. Naruto sighed and put the paper away in his pocket, went to the restroom and did his morning routine. Apparently both his parents and sister were still sleeping, so he quietly sneaked out and went to his secret training ground. It may be his birthday, but that doesn't mean he gets a free day and relaxes from training. He left his home to go to his training ground. After an hour when Naruto left, Narumi woke up really happy since today was her and Naruto's birthday. She quickly got out of bed and ran to her parents' room. "To-san! Ka-san, wake up! It's mine and Naruto's birthday!" shouted Narumi, jumping on her parents' bed, waking them up. Minato and Kushina groaned as they woke up. "Narumi, calm down. Why don't you wake Naruto up and we can walk around the village and see the festival preparation, and we will visit the clan heads and your friends," replied Minato. Narumi nodded and ran to Naruto's room. While Minato and Kushina got up, they smiled at their daughter's antics. They both went to go the usual morning routine of brushing their teeth. After that they changed while Kushina went to the kitchen to prepare breakfast for the family, and Minato reviewed what he was going to teach Naruto. Narumi ran through the halls and appeared in front of Naruto's room. She was scared to open it. She never has been inside Naruto's room before, so she didn't know what was in there. Too scared to go inside, she decided to knock instead, hoping Naruto would answer. "Aniki," said to Narumi while knocking on her brother's door. She got no answer, and knocked once again only to have no answer once again. She put her head against the walls to hear any noise but heard nothing. Assuming that he wasn't there, and still scared to go into his room, Narumi went to tell her parents. Narumi quickly went to the kitchen where both Minato and Kushina were. Kushina, seeing the sad look on Narumi's face, asked, "What's wrong with Narumi?" Narumi looked at her and replied, "Naruto isn't in his room," shocking both Minato and Kushina. "Did you check his room?" asked Minato. "Well, I knocked and got no reply. I am scared to go into his room," replied Narumi. "Why are you scared?" "That's because I've never been into his room before, and I'm scared Aniki will be mad at me." Minato and Kushina were surprised. They too have never been into Naruto's room and wondered what would be in there. Naruto seemed to be in there all the time, so they assumed there was something in there for him to do, but doesn't remember getting him anything that will allow him to stay in his room all day. "How about we all go to Naruto's room then? Would you like that, Narumi?" said Kushina, to which Narumi nodded in reply. The three of them quickly went to Naruto's room and stopped when they were in front of Naruto's room. Slowly Minato opened the door to his room, and when it opened all three of them were surprised. Naruto's room was what you would call plain, very plain. The walls were white, no dirty marks on it, while his bed was neatly done, showing that he was gone. His room was very clean, even cleaner than Minato and Kushina. There wasn't a single piece of clothing lying around anywhere. His clothes were neatly folded and the dirty ones in a basket at the side of his room. Narumi, Minato, and Kushina frowned at how plain his room was. Not a single decoration on the walls. They looked around his room and noticed a bookcase filled with books, mostly advanced. Even Minato would have trouble reading some of the books on his own. The books ranged from romance novels to history books. There were many kinds of different books. "Naruto can read these books?" said a surprised Minato. Kushina and Narumi remained silent, amazed how smart Naruto was. After a minute or so of being surprised, they looked around his room once more. They noticed something on his desk. It was a small stack of paintings and drawings that Naruto did. They looked through each one and were shocked at how much of an artist Naruto was. These paintings he did were almost as good as professional artists. The paintings they saw were mostly about nature, but they were very beautiful. There were two paintings in particular that caught all their eyes. The first one was a painting of 4 people. 2 yellow-haired male, and 2 red-haired females. You can obviously see that one male and female were children and the other 2 adults. All 4 of them seemed to be very happy. The 3 of them knew that the painting was about them and Naruto. Minato, who was holding the painting, turned it around for Kushina and Narumi to see. They saw Naruto's signature, and when he painted this. It said that he painted this when he was around 6, but something shocked them. What shocked them though was the title of the painting. The title was called Family. After reading it, Kushina and Narumi became sad, but quickly let it go. They were going to make it up to him, that's a promise. They put the first painting down and looked at the second one that Kushina was currently holding. It was a painting of a blonde male looking over the scenery of nature. A lake covered by trees with mountains in the background. The man himself was standing on a cliff looking at nature, so they couldn't see the face of the man. They thought it was beautiful, probably one of Naruto's best paintings. Kushina turned the painting around and noticed that it was recently painted. The painting was titled Rise from the Shadow. They didn't understand what it meant. They continued to understand the meaning of the painting until they were interrupted by a knock on the door. They turned around and were surprised to see Naruto standing at the door to his room. His face annoyed. "Can I help you?" said Naruto coldly. Kushina quickly put the painting down and replied, "Sorry Naruto, we wanted to tell you to come down and eat breakfast but you were gone. So we came to your room to check up on you, to see you gone. Also we wanted to tell you to get ready to visit the clan heads." Naruto nodded and replied, "I understand, now would you please leave so I can change?" The 3 Namikaze quickly left his room and Naruto closed the door. He quickly changed into normal gray pants and a dark gray t-shirt. He threw his dirty clothes into his dirty laundry basket. When he was done getting ready, he closed the door behind him. Forgetting about the plan he left inside his dirty pants pocket. He went downstairs and ate breakfast with his family, and they left the house to walk around the village and clan houses. As they walked around the village, to see how the festival preparations were coming. It seemed that they were almost done. After the quick detour they went and visited the clan homes. Well, to be more exact, they all went to the Hyuga's homes since they were invited to go there along with all the clan heads. At the Hyuga clan house, you could see Hinata and Ino talking with each other. Shikamaru, Chuji, Kiba, and Shino were two hanging around each other. Well, to be more exact, Shikamaru was sleeping while Chuji was eating chips, Kiba was petting his pet Akamaru, and Shino was silent or talking to bugs. The parents were watching their children play while talking. There was a knock on the door, and Hisashi, the clan head, answered it to see Minato and Kushina with their children. They could tell that Narumi couldn't wait to talk with her friend, and Naruto, who, well, they couldn't tell his emotion. "Hello Minato-san, nice of you to make it," I greeted Hayashi, who is a good friend of Minato. "Yo Hayashi, how's it going?" replied Minato. Minato looked around the house and noticed a certain arrogant clan head missing. "Where Fugaku?" he asked. "Fugaku said something about not having time for childish things like getting together," replied Hayashi. Minato laughed. "Dude gotta stick up his ass, that's for sure." Hayashi chuckled at his friend's attitude. After a quick greeting from the rest of the family, Minato and Kushina went to the adults to talk about things. Kushina glanced back at her children and hoped that they were at least starting to get along. Narumi looked at Naruto's determination in her eyes. "Aniki, would you like to play with me and my friends?" Naruto looked at her like she was crazy. Didn't what he said yesterday mean anything to her? He wanted to say no until in the corner of his eyes he saw Kushina looking at them, hoping that they would get along. Then something came into Naruto's mind and he mentally smirked. "If I pretend to forgive them, then they'll probably get off my back about things, which will make it easier for me to escape. Thinking they have won so they wouldn't need to worry about me that much." He looked at Narumi's still determined face and nodded, sure, that would be nice. Narumi quickly dragged Naruto to her friends, which was Ino and Hinata, since they were the only girls there really because it was a clan head family get-together. As both Narumi and Naruto sat down, both Ino and Hinata greeted Narumi but were looking at Naruto. Naruto just shrugged it off and greeted both of them, ignoring their looks. After a minute of awkwardness, Ino, Hinata, and Narumi talked like little gossip girls. Naruto groaned, closed his eyes and meditated as best as he could. Narumi saw this and frowned but understood that he didn't understand girl talk. While the clan heads were walking with each other and watching their children interact, Minato was currently talking with Hayashi, Shikaku, Choza, and Inoichi, while Kushina was talking with the wife of the clan heads, but really she was paying most of her attention to Naruto. She saw his eyes close, which she thought that he was sleeping, and it made her frown because he was interacting with anyone. It made her start to think that Naruto doesn't have any friends, and was lonely his whole life, which made her even more sad. She was part of the reason why he was lonely, because she played favorites and neglected him over Narumi. Not listening to her motherly instinct, instead listening to Minato and her ninja self, something she now regretted. After 2 to 3 hours it was noon, and time for the Namikaze family had to leave so that they could prepare for the party and to see the festival preparation. During the clan visit, after Narumi finished her girl talk with Ino and Hinata, they tried to get to know Naruto better by asking him questions, to which he gave them answers and they started to talk. He pretended to enjoy being around his family. During the walk in the village, everyone greeted the Hokage and his family, while some secretly glared at Naruto, which he ignored. During the walk, Kushina and Minato noticed that Naruto was talking with Narumi. It seems he forgives us both, Kushina and Minato, as they continue walking. After an hour, Minato decided that it was time to go home, so that they could prepare for the birthday party. When they reached inside the Namikaze home, Kushina looked at her kids and said, "Why don't you two clean up and change for the party?" Naruto and Narumi both nod and go to their rooms. Kushina went to change and cook for the party, while Minato got the decoration ready. Luckily, he put some Harem seals around the house, which made it quicker for him to decorate. Narumi finished about an hour later, and went to Naruto's room only to find him sleeping. She didn't want to bother him, so she closed the door and went to the living room to help her dad with the decoration. Hours later, time 6 p.m. It was 6 p.m. time for the party to begin. The Namikaze house was filled with friends, children, and adults. There were the clan heads and their family, Hiruzen Sarutobi the third Hokage and his family, Naruto and Narumi's godparents Jiraiya and Tsunade. There were also some shinobi who were close friends to Minato and Kushina, one of which was Kakashi, Kurenai, and Yugao, who was once a student to Minato and Kushina. Narumi was currently talking with her friends, which were Ino, Hinata, Sakura, Hanabi, and some girls in her class. There were also some guys that hung out with her like Shikamaru, Kiba, Kuji, and Shino. Narumi, though, was not engaged in the conversation. Instead, she was trying to find Naruto. Earlier, when she finished helping her dad with the decoration, she waited for her brother to finish his nap. She waited for a while, but then the guests started coming and quickly her friends assaulted her. Naruto himself was standing in the corner away from the crowd where no one could see him. He was currently observing the party, watching everyone and how the party was progressing, so that he would know the right time to escape. About an hour had passed and he finished eating dinner, and still observed the party as it progressed. He smirked when they started to take out the alcohol. Now all I have to do is wait till they're all drunk, he thought to himself. 30 minutes later, most of the adults were drunk, including Minato, though he wasn't as drunk as the others. Naruto knew it was time for him to leave. He got up to go to his room until someone standing in front of him stopped him. He looked up to see Itachi with a smile. "Hello, Itachi-san," greeted Naruto. Itachi, still smiling, replied, "Hello, Naruto, where are you going?" "Just to my room, I'm a little tired so I need some rest." "This early?" "Yes." Itachi only nodded and pulled a small box out of his pocket and gave it to Naruto. "Your birthday present," added Itachi. Naruto took the box, thanking Itachi, and opened it. Inside was a scroll. Confused, Naruto looked at Itachi, who was still smiling at him. "What is this?" he asked, still confused. "Couple of katan I managed to copy from the Uchiha clan. But don't tell anyone," replied Itachi. Naruto smiled. Itachi was like a brother to him, and also a teacher. He thanked Itachi, gave him a hug, and excused himself to go to his room. In his room he got these things ready and checked if he had everything he needed. In his backpack he has a few storage scrolls holding food, cooking materials, and things for survival. He also brought, and shrunken for protection, extra clothes consisting of 2 shirts, 1 gray, 1 black combat pants, and undergarments. Lastly was the scroll that he received from Itachi. He packed his things and put on his backpack, put on his shoes, opened the window and looked at his room once more before he would leave. Looking over at his table, he saw a stack of his artwork. He saw 2 paintings, the ones that his family was looking at earlier in the day. He picked one of the pictures up and put it in one of his scrolls. After, he pulled out a kunai, sliced the other picture, making it break, and jumped out of the window when he finished. He was lucky the gate was open for incoming people that might be late to the party. He sneaked past a couple of drunken people and exited the gate. In the village, Naruto could see many people still celebrating. Children playing the games and the festival, while the mother watches over them or talks to their friends. The men were mostly drunk from the many alcohol they drank. Naruto went through the festival, making sure no one saw him. He hated the fact that the house was on the opposite side of the village from the main gate. So it was going to take him forever to reach the main gate, since the other gates were closed for the ceremony, to make sure that if there was an attack they would have to come through the main gate. It already took him an hour to get to the festival, and only the beginning. It took him forever because he had to take long routes and make sure no one spotted him, not even the ANBUs. He sighed, thinking about how much more distance he has left, and the many people he would have to hide from in the festival. He inwardly groaned. This was going to take forever. Namikaze's house, 1 hour after Naruto left. The time was 9, about an hour since Naruto left. The party doesn't seem to be getting smaller or tiring down. If anything, it seems to be getting wilder. There was karaoke coming from the living room, with many more drunk adults singing, and the children were running around the house. Minato, who was slightly drunk since he didn't drink much, quieted everyone down. "Now then, it is time for Narumi to open her presents," said Minato when everyone was quiet and listening to Minato. Narumi, who heard what her father said, smiled in happiness. For a while now she has been sad because she hasn't found Naruto. But the mention of the present brought her out of her sad thoughts. The only thing in her mind at the moment was her present. First off was Jiraiya, who walked up to Narumi with a giant scroll. Many people were wide-eyed knowing what the scroll was. Swanda, though, was fuming when she saw the scroll. She wanted to give Narumi the summoning contract to the slug, but apparently Jiraiya beat her to it. "Narumi, I want to give you the toad's summoning contract," said Jiraiya. Narumi's eyes widened. She knew what they were summoning from what her father told her, and also wanted to summon toads like her father. Narumi started to jump in glee. Jiraiya chuckled while everyone laughed. "Now sign here with your blood," said Jiraiya, pointing to the blank space next to Minato's name. Narumi bit her thumb so blood could come out, then she wrote her name the best she could. After it was done, Jiraiya closed the scroll and Minato came up to Narumi telling her that she will have extra training so that she could summon the toads. After she opened all the presents, which consist of clothes, toys, and things from her friends and clan heads. Her mother got her a wooden katana and said that she will be teaching her in the family kenjutsu style, which made Narumi happy. Minato gave her some of his speciality, and said he will start preparing her for the more advanced stuff of his training. Mikoto, who was watching the gifts, frowned. Speaking of Mikoto, since the party started she has been looking for Naruto, but failed. She wanted to give Naruto a present of her own, which was a fox costume she thought would look really cute on Naruto, and a black trench coat. She asked her son Itachi to help her find him, which he did. When Itachi came back she asked him where Naruto was and he told her that he was sleeping. She told herself that she would give Naruto a present later after Narumi finishes opening her presents, and the party starts once again. When she finished opening all her presents, which took about an hour because of her enormous pile of presents, everyone was about to go back to his or her own business, when they heard a voice. "Where's Naruto Onii-chan?" asked Narumi. Everyone stopped what they were doing and looked around confused. They all forgot about Minato and Kushina's second child, the blonde boy with a whisker mark who always seemed quiet. Minato and Kushina were a little worried because they hadn't seen Naruto during the party either, and hoped that he was fine. Kurinai, Yugigo, and Anko, who were also at the party, were also worried for their friend, who they see as a younger brother. After saving Naruto, the three of them talked to Naruto and tried to get to know him. As time went by they got close to each other. The three girls saw him as a younger brother who they will protect no matter what. "Don't worry about Naruto, he went to his room to sleep," said Minato, who had just been informed by Itachi. Everyone nodded and went back to their things. Narumi frowned. Her plan was ruined, but she didn't want to bother Naruto either. She sighed and went back to her friends. When Mikoto saw everyone going back to the party, she slipped away from the party to give Naruto her present, and maybe get to see how cute Naruto's sleeping form would look like, so she can tease him about it. When she reached Naruto's room, she pressed her ears against the door to hear if Naruto made any sound while he slept. Wow, Naruto-kun is a silent sleeper, Mikoto thought to herself when she heard nothing, unlike her husband Fugaku, who snores really loud, and grumbles something about Uchiha being the best. Man, that guy never stops being arrogant. She opened the door quietly and looked around the room. The only light was from the moon. She found the light switch and quickly switched it so the light would turn on. She looked around the now light room and was shocked to not see Naruto frown. She thought that he probably went to the restroom or something, so she waited. Might as well give Naruto his present while he was awake. While waiting, Mikoto looked around his room and saw the basket holding Naruto's dirty laundry. When she looked inside she saw a piece of paper slightly hanging out of one of Naruto's pant pockets. Curious, she pulled the paper out and read it. She gasped and dropped the box which holds Naruto's present. She quickly ran out of the room and back to the party, looking for Kushina and Minato. She quickly found Kushina and Minato, who were in a group talking with some of the clan heads. She quickly ran to them. Minato and Kushina saw Mikoto coming up into the group slightly panting with fear, and worry written all over her face. "What's wrong, Mikoto?" asked Minato. Naruto replied to Mikoto, who didn't get to finish when Kushina interrupted her. "What about Naruto-kun?" Kushina interrupted. "Naruto is leaving the village." She shouted loudly that the whole party heard and stopped what they were doing to look at Mikoto. Kushina and Minato were shocked to hear this. "What do you mean leaving the village?" asked Minato loudly. "I went to Naruto's room to give him my present. I didn't find Naruto sleeping, instead I found this sheet of paper hanging out of one of Naruto's pants." Mikoto gave both Kushina and Minato the sheet of paper she found. Minato and Kushina quickly took it and read what it said. Their eyes widened when they finished. Kushina broke down crying. "He didn't forgive us," she said while sobbing. Narumi, who heard what Mikoto said, went up to her parents hoping what she heard was false. "Tu-san, is Onii-san really gone?" she asked wearily. Minato looked at her daughter. She looked into her eyes and saw fear. Fear that what she heard was true. Minato didn't want to answer, so he turned away. Narumi saw what her father did and somewhat understood what it meant and broke down crying herself. Minato himself felt even worse. He re-looked over the plan and noticed that there might be a chance to get his son back. "Umbu!" shouted Minato. Then some ANBU appeared in front of Minato kneeling. "What is it, Hokage-sama?" said an ANBU wearing a bear mask. "Find my son Naruto, and make sure he doesn't reach the main gate." "Why, Hokage-sama?" "Because Naruto is planning on leaving Konoha, and I will not lose my son," shouted Minato, getting angry that the ANBU has not left yet. The ANBU quickly left, doing what they were told. Minato himself was preparing to leave when he was stopped by a couple of Jonin, Jiraiya, Kakashi, the clan heads excluding Fugaku, who thought that the demon brat should just leave, which got a glare from Kushina, while inwardly she was confused. Naruto isn't a demon. Minutes later everyone was ready, including Kushina. Minato looked shocked to see Kushina. "What are you doing, Kushina?" asked Minato. "Helping to look for Naruto," she replied, getting annoyed with why they haven't left yet, and Minato questioning something like this. "No, you can't, you have to stay and watch the children. Don't worry, I will bring Naruto back." With that, Minato left, leaving an angry Kushina before she could say anything. Mikoto, who was there, went up to her longtime friend. "Go find Naruto, I'll stay and watch the kids," she told Kushina. "Thank you, Mikoto-chan," Kushina replied, and started to leave. "You better bring Naruto back," shouted so Kushina could hear. "I will," replied Kushina. With that she disappeared via Shunshin. Outside Konoha, Naruto finally got outside of Konoha, though it took forever. He easily got past the guards at the gate, since they were knocked out from drinking too much. He signed to himself. It took him forever to get here after dodging people and making sure not to be spotted. He was lucky the festival pretty much reached all the way to the main gate. "Finally out of the village," said Naruto with relief. "Still, you shouldn't relax yet, you're still in Konoha territory," Yoko told Naruto, sounding slightly tired. Yoko was right. Even though he was right outside of Konoha, it didn't mean he should relax, since he was still in Konoha territory. He inwardly nodded to Yoko, but noticed that when she talked she sounded a little weary and tired. He wanted to ask her what was wrong but felt chakra signals that brought him out of his current thoughts. He cursed to himself when he sensed that they were all at ANBU level shinobi. Quickly he hid himself behind a tree and tried his best to conceal his chakra, hoping no one would sense him. After waiting for a while he saw a few pass by him. When there was no one left he got out of his hiding spot and began running again, only to stop when he noticed about 3 people waiting for him. He cursed to himself since he knew now that his plan was going to fail. In front of him stood Kakashi, Jiraiya, and Itachi. Naruto stopped a few yards away from them, staring at them with impassive eyes. "Naruto, you need to come home," said Jiraiya. Naruto glared at Jiraiya and Kakashi, 2 people he didn't really care for, since they both were somehow related to his father. One being his teacher while the other being his student. But both were strong, something he respected about them a little. "Why would I do that?" growled Naruto. "That's because your father, mother and sister want you back home. Sensei, Kushina-san, and Narumi-chan want you home so you all can be a family again," said Kakashi, jumping into the conversation, hoping to change Naruto's mind about leaving. He frowned when Naruto's face didn't lighten up. If anything, it was even madder than before. Naruto now glared at Kakashi and replied, "Since when have I been considered family? I was never considered family to them. I was neglected and ignored for what? Only because Narumi contains Kyuubi's chakra." Making both Kakashi and Jiraiya both flinch, Naruto, seeing both Jiraiya and Kakashi flinching, tried to run but stopped when he saw them also move. Naruto examined them and noticed that Jiraiya and Kakashi stood in front while Itachi stood a few yards back. Seconds later Naruto felt more chakra signal. He mentally cured himself. He didn't want his plan to fail. All that planning for what? Only to fail. No, he will not allow that. He had to think of something, anything quickly. Then something came into his mind. He only hoped that it would work. Getting into a stance with his arms crossed in an X formation, blue chakra began to cover around him. Kakashi, Jiraiya were confused but got into a fighting stance. "Gravity Seal Kai." "Release," said Naruto, making both Kakashi and Jiraiya's eyes widen in shock. Naruto knows, they both thought. Naruto saw the shocked look and used it as a cue to dash off, passing both Kakashi and Jiraiya. Kakashi and Jiraiya, who were still shocked, saw Naruto make fun of it, but they were late to react, and the speed they saw him made them even more shocked. He's fast, they both thought. It wasn't that Naruto was faster than them or anything, it was just that Naruto was really fast for his age, even faster than them when they were his age. Though Kakashi was fast, his fastest being around low speed, Naruto was at least mid to high speed. Naruto smiled and continued to run into the forest. In a matter of seconds he was gone from Jiraiya and Kakashi, but he went off-road so it would be harder for them to find him. While running he felt like he forgot something or someone. When he remembered he cursed to himself because the person he forgot was standing in front of him. Itachi. During the interaction between Naruto and the two shinobi, Itachi stood behind watching Naruto. When Naruto made a dash for it, he followed him and hid his chakra to sneak in front of Naruto. Now he stood in front of Naruto with conflicting feelings. Truthfully, he hated the villagers for beating Naruto, someone he saw as a younger brother. Though he had Sasuke, the guy was like his father, someone he disliked greatly. He knew that the marriage between his parents was arranged, but would it kill him to show some affection to his wife? He barely talks to her and would treat her like a toy or a housemaid. Also the way he interacted with people, if they weren't an Uchiha he would think lowly of them. Sure, the Uchiha has the Sharingan, but it wasn't the strongest, and it had its drawbacks too. He tried to change Sasuke, but Sasuke had adapted to his father's personality and remained unchanging. Itachi and I, please let me go, pleaded Naruto. Itachi looked into Naruto's eyes and saw his eyes sad and pleading. Itachi, a Konoha shinobi, must follow the order of the Hokage, but he didn't want to see Naruto suffer. But how will I survive? It's really dangerous outside the village, asked Itachi. I read a few books on survival, and if someone attacks I can try my best to hold them off and make a run for it. I mean, I did hit you a few times during our spars, replied Naruto. Itachi looked into Naruto's eyes and saw that he wouldn't change his mind. He really didn't want Naruto to live, but if he can take care of himself then he guessed it was okay. Itachi sighed and reached into his pocket and pulled out a special. Naruto immediately knew that it was his father, Minato's, that he uses for his called the Flying Thunder God technique. Use this, Naruto-kun, when you get into serious trouble, said Itachi seriously. Naruto reluctantly nodded, took the kunai, and put it in his pocket. Thank you, Itachi and I said to Naruto, as he gave Itachi a hug which Itachi returned. Now go to Naruto before the others find you, said Itachi. Naruto nodded and dashed off. Minutes after, Kakashi and Jiraiya came. Itachi, did you see Naruto? Asked Jiraiya. No, I haven't. I think he went the other way though. We must hurry before we lose him, replied Itachi, pointing to a different direction. Kakashi and Jiraiya nodded and all three of them followed the direction Itachi pointed to. Naruto himself was glad that Itachi let him go. Sure, he was young, but he knew how to defend himself. He could give low to mid a run for their money. He made a mental note that he owed Itachi later on in the future. As he continued running, a red blur passed by him and stopped a few feet in front of him, making him stop. Naruto now saw who was in front of him and glared at the person. For the person in front of him was his mother, Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. She wore her battle gear, but without her katana since she had to rush. How Kushina found Naruto was rather difficult. When she started looking, she thought that he was probably in the forest of Hinokuni, Fire Country, already, so she dashed her way to the forest. When she got there, she started looking but noticed Itachi. She asked him if he had found, which he answered no, and they went their separate ways. It was only luck that she found him, because of footsteps she heard like someone was running. She followed the sound and shortly after she found her son. Naruto, why are you leaving? Is it because of us? If so, then we will make it up to you, Kushina asked Naruto, sadly hoping to change Naruto's mind about leaving. Please, you had your chance years ago. I've even tried to become a family by suggesting going to places, but what happened? Oh, that's right, my suggestions were overruled by Narumi, yelled Naruto, his anger getting the best of him. He wasn't done yet, he was by far from done. Since he was leaving anyways, might as well tell her everything, not like she care anyways. I've always tried to do anything to become a family, but every time, you ignore me, always choosing Narumi over me. I stopped trying because I know what will happen, he continued, making Kushina sadder than before. But that doesn't mean you should leave. We can make it up to you, responded Kushina after finishing her flashbacks. Like I said, you lost your chances about 2 years ago. You neglected and ignored me over Narumi for what? All because she holds Kyuubi's powers. But she had to be trained to control Kyuubi's power, also Minato-kun said so, and he knows what is best. Naruto was getting more furious when his mother mentioned Minato. So what? That doesn't mean you have to neglect me. You could have always given me books on chakra or maybe the basic anything. But no. You just shoot me like I'm some kind of fly and tell me to go to my room, telling me I'll be trained when I'm ready. And don't talk about that bastard Minato in front of me. Hey, don't talk to your father like that, yelled Kushina. The bastard isn't my father, more like an overconfident fool. If he was so great, then he should have known that it is going to be impossible for Narumi to control Kyuubi's chakra. What do you mean impossible? Asked Kushina confused. You were a Jinchuriki yourself, you should know. Without the soul, all the power is just a mass of destruction, hatred, and madness. Narumi cannot control that. For Narumi to control the power, she needs the soul, which is sealed inside me. The soul and power must coexist with each other like yin and yang, light and dark. How else were you able to control Kyuubi's power? How do you know all this stuff? It doesn't matter, now move so I can leave this retarded village. Don't talk about your home like that. That place isn't my home. It's more like hell, shouted Naruto, shocking Kushina. How? Kushina was confused. Was ignoring Naruto really that bad? What do you mean? You know how? No, I don't. Really now? So you don't know that I get beat almost every other day of my life? Making Kushina shocked to her core. Naruto was getting beat up. By who? For what reason? Who did that to you? Naruto was getting irritated. What does she mean, who did it to him? And she knew the answer. You know who did it. Why ask? Now Kushina was shocked. She didn't know who it was, nor did she know that Naruto was getting beat up and being called a demon in the first place. No, I don't. You mean to tell me that you don't know a bunch of villagers beat me up? What? Why would they do that? That's because they think I'm a demon. Kushina was confused by the demon. She thought to herself. Why would they think you are a demon? Are you kidding me? You don't know? That is because since I hold the Kyuubi soul, they think that the Kyuubi influences me. So they think I'm Kyuubi and would beat me up. Naruto stopped to take a deep breath. He was mad, his face red with anger. Kushina, on the other hand, was taking this in slowly, but eventually her eyes started to swell with tears coming out. And you want to know what's funny? Added Naruto. Kushina looked up at him, wondering what it might be. That bastard Minato allowed them to beat me up, using me as a scapegoat for their pain and loss from the Kyuubi attack. Yes, Naruto knew, it didn't really take a genius to figure it out. Since he remembered seeing constant familiar faces during his beatings. He guessed that the fool must have let them free from prison and charges. He also found out when he went to the Hokage room to confirm his thoughts. When he saw a released civilian from prison signed. Kushina froze when she heard that Minato allowed her son to be beaten. She didn't know what to believe. She had trusted her husband, believing that he always knew what to do. But after hearing what Naruto just told her, she didn't know anymore. Right now, I cannot forget what happened to me. The pain is too much, I can't handle it, said Naruto. Kushina brought out her current thoughts and started thinking about what has happened to Naruto. She was thinking about everything Naruto had told her. She started having flashbacks of all the events with Naruto. She remembered the times when Naruto would suggest things only for Narumi to say something else, how Minato along with her agreed with Narumi. She remembered the time Naruto asked to be trained only for Minato, and her to tell him to go to his room. Truthfully, she could have done something to Naruto, but instead she listened to Minato and told Naruto that he would be trained when ready. Going through these flashbacks, she felt like an idiot, like a fangirl. After Minato saved the village from the Kyuubi attack, he was seen as a hero. After that, Kushina, thinking Minato was the strongest shinobi ever, followed him like a fangirl, never questioning anything he said or done. Thinking what he says or does is the right thing. Now she didn't know what to think. She wanted to believe what Naruto said was false, about the beatings and Minato, all of it false. She kept on thinking while Naruto kept on talking. She didn't hear a single thing of what Naruto said as she kept on thinking. When she got back to her senses, she was too late because the last thing she heard from Naruto was goodbye Kazan and left, leaving a teary Kushina who broke down crying, not having the willpower to chase after him. Naruto has finally escaped and will not be heard from Konoha for many years. Thanks for watching my video, and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic. Link is in the description. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.